I'm excited to introduce some innovative startups from our Tech for Trust acceleration program. So each represents the cutting edge of cybersecurity and digital trust within the Trust Valley ecosystem. Over the next 20 minutes, you will hear 4 companies introducing themselves. They have 3 minutes to tell you what they are doing, and you from the audience might ask them some questions. These startups are addressing critical security challenges with fresh approaches and innovative technologies. So I encourage you to visit the Trust Valley booth. We are at the corner next to where food is, basically, and interact with them. So see what they are working on, have some demos, etc. So the startups that we have on the booth are Hackrate, Panop, Clear Sky, Hafnova, Zephyr, DeFi Space, DuoKey, as you heard, Najib, and Brightside. But not all of them are going to pitch, so you will see only 4 of them. Our Tech for Trust program has accelerated over 160 startups over the last 6 years. Startups in cybersecurity, but also in digital trust. And these guys here today represent some of the most promising innovations in the field. So after the presentation, we'll move to our expert panel, and I'll leave the floor to the rest. Let me welcome on stage Balaz, Sergi, Andre, and Tony. Come on, guys. Balaz, Sergi, Andre, and Tony. You have the mics next to you. You can also stand up, probably, if you prefer to engage with the audience. First, Balaz from Hackrate.
Yeah, thank you, Flaminia. So, before I jump my pitch, I have a question for you. How can we be sure that the ethical hackers are truly ethical? I have heard this question way too often, to be honest, and this question was a key driver of our innovation in cybersecurity. But I would start at the beginning. We started Hackrate because we believe that crowdsourced security is a key role. We will have a key role in cybersecurity because we believe that motivated cybersecurity experts are needed to find complex vulnerabilities. We started our ethical hacking platform, which means basically connect companies and the global community of ethical hackers, because we believe that continuous security testing will support agile software development. Motivated security ethical hackers needed to find complex vulnerabilities. And if more ethical hackers test the system from different angles, of course, they offer a better protection. But the interesting thing here that several cybersecurity leaders still choose traditional pen test over the crowdsourced approach. And we really wanted to understand why. And we started talking with several customers, and we finally understood the root problem. Companies don't know how to trust ethical hackers. And this was a key driver of our innovation. We created a managed gateway called Hackgate, and Hackgate basically controls and monitors every steps of the ethical hackers. It's basically a reverse proxy with authentication function and data analytics, and we are able to show our customers what the ethical hackers are doing in real time. And I mentioned that Hackgate is useful from customer side, but also very useful if you are a pentest provider, because it helps you to provide information what the ethical hackers are doing. We are able to identify attack types and compare them, for example, to OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. And we are also able to compare the tested API endpoints and all available API endpoints if you are using an API definition file. So basically, we are a quality assurance solution for the pentest industry. And at this moment, we're usually using our ethical hacking monitoring solution with our ethical hacking platform. But our goal and our vision is to use Hackgate solution in the entire industry, because we believe that transparency in cybersecurity testing is really much what the industry is needed.
Thank you very much. Right on time. Are there any questions from the audience? Are you professional hackers? Question from... can someone bring the mic to the question? Thank you.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. So besides log management, how are you preventing the attacks from the malicious attacker exactly?
Yeah, so Hackgate, for example, in this, it was the first project. We used Hackgate in a bank. And in this case, the net bank was in the internal network, obviously. So we used Hackgate with our authentication functions. So only our ethical hackers were able to authenticate on Hackgate. So malicious attackers from, in this case, obviously, are not able to reach the target. And of course, it's a pretty interesting use case, because, for example, in bug bounty programs, sometimes you are not sure that the security testing traffic is coming from the bug bounty program, the ethical hackers you would like to hire to find software vulnerabilities, or it's a real attack. And for example, in this case, Hackgate was only allowed to reach the target. So yeah, basically this way.
And and thanks for your answer. And how does it differentiate from the companies that set up, for example, a VPN for the ethical hackers?
Yeah, it's thank you for this question. It's quite technical, but of course, VPN can be used to collect some information, but Hackgate was created from scratch for this purpose. Of course, for example, web application firewalls and different solutions, also some capabilities for, collect information about the ethical hacker activity. But Hackgate is directly created for this purpose. And of course, it's much more, we provide much more detailed reports about the security testing. So we are basically encrypt and decrypt the SSH traffic and SSL traffic, and with this we are able to analyze the attack types also, and the for example the comprehensiveness of the tests, which is not really possible with a VPN solution, for example.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Sergi.
Thank you. So today, the question is not anymore if we will suffer an attack, it's when. And the only way to answer this question is trying to be the first ones. Today, companies face an unprecedented challenge. On one side, with digital programs, cloud adoption, and IoT, the surface of companies is growing exponentially. On the other side, most of the security teams, I think most of you in this room, they have an issue to protect something that you don't know in an ever-changing environment with less and less time to do it because the time to market, the business wants to go faster and faster, and usually with a lot of fragmentation in terms of tools. Most of you probably use a lot of tools. The only way to answer to this is doing a solution that is able to automate most of the repetitive tasks that you are doing in a comprehensive manner, meaning not focusing just on infrastructure, but really giving a full picture of your environment, whether it's systems, whether it's cloud, whether it's the technology they use, the data, the code, or the credentials. At the end, anything that is valuable for an attacker and could harm your company. It's a simple rule. It's what Panop does. Panop tries to really give you this single pane of glass where you can, in seconds, identify your exposure to cyber attacks. Doing that, it's just the first step. What is really important is really to take action. It's a call for action. So Panop helps you to remediate and really reduce the window of exposition that at the end is the only chance the attacker will have to breach your system or your environment.
Thank you very much. Any question on your side?
Thank you for the pitch. My question is regarding third-party risk, because now you said it, the perimeter of a company really extends in the cloud, on-prem. If you got distant employees, but also in third parties, you got a lot of dependencies. So how does your solution target that risk?
Thank you for the question. In fact, it's really up to you. Panop is able to assess those third parties, mergers and acquisitions, entities in different countries. So at the end, it's really you that you define. We have even a discovery engine that is able, just with the company name, to discover all the associated domains. I would be more than happy to showcase that outside if you want.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, yeah, I'm Andre. So we're started focusing on AI and humans. So a lot of companies are focusing on tech stuff, on infrastructure, endpoints. So we focus exclusively on humans. So what are the human vulnerabilities? We believe that the human factor is a growing threat, especially because as long as you trust humans with decisions, there are going to be a threat. And we believe that there is no good solution actually to handle that risk. So there are security, cyber awareness courses, but do many people actually do them? Does it really help? Do they really care? So this is just an example of an AI-generated email, which takes data from all the different sources. And our product consists of 3 parts. So we look for data. We made this AI private investigator, which looks for data that can be exploited against an individual. We then, second step, we fine-tune offensive models. So we take open source models and we lift censorship of them, meaning that we can inject the data points and make a very customized attack for every single person. So it's AI red teaming. And the third point is how we differentiate from like security awareness in general is we actually give a solution. So we deconstruct every attack and we give you instruments to take this information off, so it's not available for the hackers next time. So right now this is all working. We're selling for the text pipeline. We've already did a POC with voice cloning. So we'll look for not only for your information, but also for voice samples. And we're soon going to also design a product demo for automatic deepfakes. So we look for 10,000 people organization. Can we see what people have their faces online, who can be impersonated? So our goal is really to become this kind of social engineering hub and an instrument to allow you to see this blind spot that usually companies neglect. And that's the problem, basically. The market is huge. Basically, like AI allows for scaling such operations. So spear phishing, before you had to, spend your time as a hacker, do a reconnaissance operation. Now you can really scale the data aggregation and the communication. So we're countering that exact issue that not many companies actually, for some reason, address. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Before moving on to the next speakers, on your side, is anyone tackling the challenge in another way or in the same way? Any questions? Otherwise, happy to see you on the booth, Trust Valley. Thank you very much, Andre. Tony, welcome with us.
Yes, so you already see the architecture diagram, so I'll just get straight to the point. We're working on trust between businesses. So typically in the process of selling your service or product to a buyer, which is called the RFP process, which we want to first automate, but at the end then also our vision is to eliminate this process and exchange it for a way that businesses can do vendor due diligence without having to go through documentation and a bunch of Excel files. But right now it's a multi-agent system that we employ for vendors so they can answer to questionnaires or do proposals faster. And we do that by leveraging the state-of-the-art models like Cloud 3.5 Sonnet, hosted on a European Google Cloud infrastructure. And so, essentially we have an analysis agent which identifies what the RFP or questionnaire is about. Because sometimes it can just be about information phishing or competitors trying to find out about your product or service, which we want you to avoid. And so this does the analysis, and then we have another agent, and everything also still powered by an existing AI model such as Claude, which drafts the first completed proposal or questionnaire. And finally, also there is an agent that does the review and customizes the proposal. And so everything is based on European cloud right now, but we are also looking for Swiss cloud, and so this is mainly also why we're talking here to Exoscale and the some other providers. So any questions, any remarks, or if you want to test out our beta, then come to the Trust Valley booth.
Thank you very much. They're all being scared before getting on stage that they should have been so on time. Any questions from the audience on this point? Do you know the hassle of RFPs, right? Any case, this is part of the innovation we're bringing. Thank you very much, guys, and see you later. Now let me welcome on stage for the second part of this panel dedicated to innovation, Lennig Pedron, the CEO of the Trust Valley, that will give us an insight, an outlook of the market. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Flaminia. It was great to hear all the pitch of the startup. And as you know, we have several programs dedicated to startup, to support them, to innovate with them, and also to accelerate the startup. And what we do really with talent today, we really want to also explain to you what is going on when you create a company. And we are very happy. It's a pleasure for me to have you here today for this panel on innovation and cybersecurity entrepreneurship. I want to start with some important numbers that show why starting a cybersecurity business isn't just a good idea. It's becoming a necessity for the society, but it's also a big opportunity for you to go to that. Why cybersecurity is a huge opportunity? Because the market is really growing. Cybersecurity is one of the fastest growing industries. The Swiss cybersecurity market is highly expanding, expected to grow by less than 6% per year. On a global scale, the market is set to reach less than 400 billion by 2029, growing at just a little bit more than 13% annually. So as companies become more digital and cyber threats increase, the needs for cybersecurity solutions keep rising. So what we need is really more funding than ever. We will see with our entrepreneur that it's really not difficult to find the first money, the love money, the first money to create a startup. But when you scale, when you want to go what we call a Series A or Series A++, in Switzerland, it's difficult to find the money. Last year, a European cybersecurity startup raised over 1.2 billion, and Swiss startup alone secured 175 million. So you can see there is, a gap. 32 increase from the previous year. Investors see Switzerland as a strong hub for innovation in this space, and they are ready to back new ideas. This is really what we see. This is really a trend. It was not the case, I think, when we began the Trust Valley a few years ago, 5 years ago. Right now, we see that there is some things more. So this is the time. This is a good timing to create a company, not only an AI company, but really a company dedicated to cybersecurity with all the new good emerging technology on it. But this is some things. A huge talent shortage we have seen with the first talent that is not so easy easy to recruit, but also to find you as an expert on the market and to keep you in the company, in the organization. So there is a global shortage of 3.5 million cybersecurity professionals in Switzerland. Cybersecurity job openings are expected to grow by 8% per year. And entry-level salaries range from 110K to 140K. It could be very more, but what we see it's in the market, in the global market, it's high. So this demand means there is big opportunity startup that can help professionals automate security processes or develop new AI-driven solutions. We heard Najib just before told about agentic AI, the hype of agentic AI. This is some things happen there. Why start your own cybersecurity company? For first, make a real impact. Many cybersecurity startups secure 50 plus enterprise clients in just 3 years. And our panelists today have already helped thousands of users stay safe online. Second point is really to move faster. Startup can develop and launch solution 4 or 5 times faster than big corporation. And speeds matter in cybersecurity. This is not me who said that. This is TechCrunch. Third, build something valuable. A cybersecurity startup now see exit valuation 12x their annual revenue, higher than in most other tech sector. So all the thing is really go fast in cybersecurity. This is a huge opportunity for you. And last but not least, strong ecosystem support. Switzerland is one of Europe's best places to launch a cyber startup. Trust Valley alone has helped over 200 startups connect with client and partner. And we see more and more startups coming on new project. We have 2 incubators, 1 in Vaud, second one in Geneva, and also a big accelerator, a worldwide one. So, meet today's speaker. We are lucky to have 3 incredible founders with us today, each at different stage of the startup journey. Hugo from Clear Sky, developing AI cutting-edge cybersecurity technology. Aziz from DeFi, who just secured major funding on strategic partnership. Laurent from X Strong Network, who sold recently his company acquired to by Citrix, and a great example of a successful exit strategy. Each of them started where many of you are today, with an idea, expertise, and also the courage to take the leap into entrepreneurship. Their path wasn't easy, but they navigated challenges, adaptation, and found success. So, as we start this discussion, I encourage not just to listen here, but to picture yourself on this journey. Cybersecurity needs new ideas and leaders like you more than ever. Now, before we begin, I'd like to introduce my co-moderator for today's discussion, Olivier Crochat, Executive Director of the Center for Digital Trust at PFL. Olivier has over 25 years of experience in the ICT sector, leading projects from the idea to the exit in startup, SMEs, and also large corporations. His deep expertise in digital trust and security makes him the perfect person to help guide our discussion today. So, thank you, and yes, let's start it. Olivier, the floor is yours. Yeah.
So, welcome everybody on stage. Thank you. We talked about the cyber landscape and the industry or startup also in Switzerland. So maybe getting a few points from you or from your experience as a founder of a company, starting with you, Hugo. What have you seen or what do you see that were the technical challenges in the cyber realm for to launch a startup like yours?
Yeah. So can you hear me well? So sorry, I'm a bit sick, so my voice is a bit low, but well, a number of challenges are just impressive, because usually when you go for cyber security or data privacy as we do, you have to comply to stringent regulations, right? You want to sell products that are safe. So it brings a lot of technical challenge. If you want to make a prototype nowadays that is not secure, not cyber secure whatsoever, it's very easy. But the moment you want to take this step further to make it secure, it takes a lot of expertise internally, right? So you need the right people around you to make it a real product. In our case, we do hardware and software. So we deploy AI on small edge devices. So like this smart microphone here, for instance. And this brings additional challenge, of course. And the hardware needs to be secure, because when we bring it to our clients, it's going to be pen tested, of course.
So I'll just, before asking the other panelists a question, we'll just jump on our technical challenges. What is the problem? Is it just technical challenges that you manage to solve with your team, or do you need some special resources or expertise that are difficult to get in Switzerland or around here?
So we are very close to EPFL. We're a spin-off from EPFL, so we get talents from EPFL mostly. But like I said, the moment we needed to put high-level enterprise-grade security in our device, we need to get an expert into hardware security. And this was not so easy to find, actually. Honestly, if you're an expert in hardware security, you have a very bright future ahead of you these days.
Thank you very much. Aziz, next question is for you. We're talking about hardware and security, I think, and also certification. As soon as we talk about space, I assume that you have a lot of regulation and security and hardware things. So, what and how do you achieve that as a startup?
Sure. Hey, everybody. So what we are building here is shared satellites, just to put people in perspective. So we're not developing cybersecurity solutions per se, but we're highly impacted by that. And today we're trying to figure our way, how do we, let's say, offer enterprise-grade security, as you mentioned, but on our very basic prototypes that are flying to space. The first one is going to fly next Saturday. And we have minimal security, but we start seeing, let's say, these concerns from our customers. So some of them are asking already, how do I protect my code? So the ones that are sharing the platform don't see it. Today we try to replicate what we see on the cloud platforms here on Earth and map it towards our infrastructure in space. So we start by mapping the exact same hardware that we see on cloud. We don't want to use any special space processors whatsoever. We use exact same hardware that you have on your laptop and then on a server. And then we have the infrastructure on top of it. So the software stack is really similar to what you have here on the cloud. So we have our customers isolated in Docker containers, and then we protect every container separately, such that we have the very similar threat models that we have here on Earth, and that simplifies the equation for us significantly.
Okay, thank you. And then we talked about the expertise in cyber, expertise in space. I think the two are quite difficult to get. Do you think the area is the right place? Because you can have access to both types of expertise?
For sure. Now, the founding team that we have has very good experience in space technologies, but we noticed quickly that you don't need to hire space experts for that. We are currently hiring software developers that have no relationship to space. They just need to be aware about what could happen in a spacecraft, like, for example, the dangers of thermal, of radiation and stuff like that. So they correct the error that we see on the code. But other than that, we want experts that are coming from the cloud industry and from the automotive industry as well, because they will see hardware that is so familiar from what they used on Earth. And our job as space engineers is to make sure that this hardware works in space. But now our first hire is actually completely from the cloud industry, and we're going to educate them about satellites.
Okay, thank you. Now, Laurent, your turn. You've been back and forth. Startup, large company, startup, large company again. Any difference or any in terms of how you cope with the cyber entrepreneurship?
And also you made 2 exits, so yeah.
So I'm just curious, who is creating a startup here? Who's in the process of creating a company? Only 2 people. Okay. Yeah. Because, I don't know where to start, because that's kind of an open-ended question, right? The second time, so I had 2 startups, right? And both were acquired by companies. But the second time is never the same playbook, right? So the first time we got acquired by Snapchat in 2016, and then this time it was by Citrix in 2024. And it's really different. I mean, there's no way you can compare two things, because it was different. It was always cybersecurity technology, that's for sure. But like it's just, I think it's always a different story. I thought that I knew some of the issues that you will get when you create a company on the second time, but then you see there's many more issues that you haven't seen on the first time. So every time it was a really growing experience. And on the acquisition side, it was also very completely different. The way we got acquired by the first company is completely different what we just got acquired like a few months ago. So I don't think there's any pattern, but I think the only pattern that you can perhaps derive from this and say, well, perhaps, you have to do product in a certain way to be acquired. So that's perhaps what I'm trying to realize now.
And is it also maybe a question of team, the experience or the experience or the capabilities of the team? No.
Yeah. I mean, and if you get along with the wrong people and you fuck up the whole thing, I can tell you that is really something that you have to be very careful. The people two people were basically trying to get careful with when you get to with the thing, because like if you're not with the people who are willing to work as much as you. Or, I like, for instance, like, there's a pessimism. People are there pessimistic, say, yeah, it's hard, and say, it's more complicated than you think and stuff like that. All these people, just don't work with these people. You have to have optimistic people in a company. But I think pessimism is that because humans are geared towards like, okay, if you're pessimistic, you're more trustworthy. You're most like, you're the guy who's careful and stuff. And you're optimistic, you're naive. You're like a kid. A kid is always happy, right? So he's naive and stuff. This is complete bullshit. If you want to be acquired, if you want to get the market, you have to be an optimistic person. You cannot be, by yourself and say, I'm the only one who understands this and these guys don't do, my competitors, they don't know the fuck they do, right? No, I think you have to be very optimistic when you do. This is one of the main lessons, I think.
Another point is about your co-founder. How did you find it?
We're almost married, so. Yeah. He wasn't there. He was supposed to be here, and then he told me, actually he had to go see his sister in London, so he was very happy that, because we discussed about that. But, you have to be, in fusion with your co-founder. But we are very different guys. We also have 20 years difference in age, which actually helps, I think, because, but I think, you have to, and it's like what I say almost married, because it's really like a marriage, right? When you're working with somebody, you have good days, bad days, some days. So this is something you need to know how to deal with. You know how to deal with that, it's going to be easier.
Yeah, do you think it's important to have a co-founder because you can't do that?
You can. Raising money by yourself is going to be really bad. People don't believe in one-man shows.
You think the same, Aziz? What is your feeling?
We would never raise money if we didn't have a co-founding team. Yeah. Because investors were always asking us, are you continuing to deliver? And it's a full-time job. So we had a business that continued running, and I was full-time on fundraising, and then we merged together.
Where did you find your co-founders?
It was a lucky shot for us. We all met at the PFL. So we identified each other by working on smaller projects. We all had similar visions, but again, we were super different when it comes to approaches. I was mostly business mindset. My co-founders were technical mindset. And that was, I think for me, it was a perfect marriage.
And you, Hugo?
Yes. So for me, he was also a guy from EPFL, actually, but we didn't know each other at all. It was completely random, actually. I hired the guy as an intern initially with the BNF program.
Oh, great.
So I interviewed the guy and I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing with no job? Actually, he's so smart. So I gave it a shot. And honestly, I was so lucky to find this guy. So he became the CTO and now he's in charge of the whole tech team. So I could stop coding myself because I had enough after all these years. And it was a relief for me. And I could focus on the business and raise money. So I fully agree with you guys. But you have to be lucky and to gauge on the personality of the person. So I'm like Laurent. We are very complementary with my co-founder. He's really the pragmatic guy. I'm the more creative guy. And it works really well. We're not really friends in life, but it just works. Yeah.
Thank you.
Be careful with friends, by the way.
Yes, be careful.
But to say
business with friends is tricky.
Yeah, Oz and I, we're really good working together, but like, it's not like we hang out together outside the thing, because, also like I have kids and stuff, so it's a different thing, right? But I think it's a good point. It's not because you're not like close friend hanging out. Actually, you have to be careful with that, actually. Perhaps it's, yeah.
And maybe one question, we talk about the getting investors or funding, but also getting customers. And when we are at this type of cyber specific domains changing fast, new threats, how do you manage to get the user or potential customers to understand that it's important and that you have the right solution?
It's for you, Hugo.
Yeah, for sure. You don't know anything at the beginning. You're just convinced that you have a great product and you just want to make it cool. And when you show it to customer, especially nowadays in 2025, nobody's impressed by anything. Let's face it. So they will judge you on, is it solving my business problem? Can I save money with this product? Right? And it's going to get worse and worse. So making cool demos that look nice doesn't work anymore. So you need to solve a business problem. So what we did from the beginning is to do demos all the time at events, at trade fairs everywhere around the world, showing the product failing so many times. So we had like demo effects. You cannot even imagine how many times. And now it doesn't happen anymore because we failed so many times. So by doing demos, we got some feedback, and the feedback helped to refine it to the actual business problem, which was in that case generating minutes for very confidential meetings.
And you think you have, you also noticed that if you go to fair or events doing demos, you have people that come with business needs at those events?
Yeah, I think for us, we stopped completely demonstrating our product and telling them what is the value proposition, but we try to reverse the equation by putting ourselves in the customer's seat and try to see what are their problems. So actually, maybe I've done that a bit too late in the journey because we already raised the money and stuff like that. But then you notice quickly those who are doing a proof of concept, you will get them extremely easily. But those who want to scale with you and going to become a recurrent customer, this is where you have to replicate the company on your own premise. Try to, let's say, live the equation as they are living it. I even try to, let's say, simulate their financial plan, see where they would be suffering, where can I increase my prices and stuff like that. And afterwards, I noticed some stuff that we never thought about when we were designing our product, because this is how the customer is actually suffering. It's not in the problem that we're solving. And that goes in a feedback loop. And I noticed that from the moment I have this in mind, my interactions with my customers are super different. Because when he tells me this is super expensive, I say, hey, but your cost is going to be allocated on this, this, and that. And now I have a better leverage on my pricing, on my products, etc.
I think it depends who you're selling to, right? I mean, this is this typical crossing the chasm issue, right? Are you talking to technologists like enthusiasts or people that, part of the C-level team and so on? They think differently, right? So I think it's really, you have to adapt your language to this, but also you have to sell your product to the right people at the right moment. If you go with a product that is not perhaps having total market fit, and you go to the C-suite and hope that these guys will say, nah, they will like, no, they see through you, right? They will think, but like, so especially early stages, you have to find this fan base, people that they're not going to pay for it, but they're going to love or they're going to try it and so on. And then you hope that basically these guys, so strategy like a product-led growth and, PLG and such, I think they are good for certain product, not for all. I think I made many mistakes on trying perhaps to go first for big contract. Also, there's a big influence from investors. They want you to go to these big companies first because they don't understand these kind of issues, right? And so I think it's really completely adapted to what you're building. But if I had to do it again, I would really try to create this fan base but also create this, this view of they see our company as really a purely technology company, right? They're building this new thing. And because first you have to convince investors. And if you convince investors, you will convince also larger companies because you're supported, you have the backing. So there's kind of sometimes a chicken and egg problem. But I think, there's not one size fits all for that. So it's difficult to say.
Yes, really, because we have a lot of startups who are looking for their first POC, pilot, and first client, and after that, looking for funding.
So one of the best things is like, you have a friend in a big company, and hey, let's do a pilot. We're likely not going to pay for it but let's do a pilot. Let's do, or give it for free. Do an open source. Open source is actually really powerful. Or community version and this type of things, right? It's difficult sometimes because you also, by open sourcing things, losing control on some of the, novelty of IP, and some people actually will take your stuff and actually do perhaps something better than you with the same thing, right? So there's a lot of pitfalls that you need to try to avoid. But I guess, this is part of the game.
I love if I had to do it again, you did it again. So,
2 times, but for 3rd time.
So did you, have you done something different the second time you said, hey, thank you, I had the experience and I didn't fall in the same problems or things like that?
Yeah, sure. But again, it's always a different experience, different team, different market, different buyers. So it's difficult to try you learn things. But I guess the second time I learned really a lot of things compared to the first time. So I hope the 3rd time will be, I won't make that many mistakes. Or fewer mistakes.
I think if I may, we hear a lot that it doesn't matter to work too much on your product. You have to reach out to your clients to learn from them and refine the product. My feeling is that you can do that the second time, actually. Because the first time, nobody cares about you. Nobody knows you. So you have to show something that works. You need to build trust, right? But the second time, I guess you can just go and speak to people and say, look, I'm building this stuff. Are you interested?
Yeah. I think for investor part, it was true because, but you made, I was with you, so I know that you made, I think, 100 interview with investors.
For the seed round. For the seed round.
Yeah,
for the pre-seed round 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the story.
We raised 600,000 in one meeting. Yeah. Oz and I went to Zurich. We thought we need 200K to start this venture because we were thinking, and we went to these guys and they say, no, we give you 600. Say, sure. Then, and it was the first meeting. So the second one, yes, but the second one, the economy has changed. It was also really, really much more competitive. And, so that was end of 2022. Things were, with COVID and all things that are ending up, things were kind of going down again. So it was not the same market. But yeah, I mean, seed round, you don't, put it this way. If you raise $500,000 with investors and it's peanuts for them. But if you raise 5 million, it starts to be, more serious. So there's going to be more diligence. So you have to see what kind of amount you raise.
You just raised 2 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
0.1.
0.1. Sorry. What is your view?
Well, that was a pre-seed. And when you mentioned these numbers of interviews, actually our conversion rate was super low on the pre-seed, but we were first-time founders as well. So for us, raising was very hard. And actually, we were doing proof of concepts with some of our customers for free, and that didn't help much on the fundraising. It was when we started charging them that we started having investors.
Yeah, they're not good investors then.
No, but the thing is,
I know these guys, but they want to see money directly. But to me, you have to see beyond that.
What happened here is that we were having investors that were ready to put money on the table, but remember, it's space, and so you educate your investor about the fact that rockets can blow up from one time to the other, and now they get risk averse, and now they want to pull out their money. So everybody didn't believe that we can deliver something, and I think the pivoting point was, this is when everything tilted, was when we transitioned from just showing slides into having paying customers on a platform that could fly. There we took a huge risk because if we had no investments, we would not have the money to pay SpaceX and we would be in huge trouble. But when we did that, the investors jumped in because now we showed them something before, and now they're seeing us delivering.
And to your point, so now I understand, because in your domain, I understand the meaning of paying for POCs because this is a capital intensive industry. Yep. In software, it's different. It's very different. So, because it doesn't cost you for doing POC, that's the thing, right?
We did that. Actually, we have software customers. Yeah. We got them for free, and investors were happy when they saw free trials.
Yeah.
But now they're like, okay, now how much can we charge them for the recurrent fee?
Okay.
And it's a nice exercise.
And you have another component also with hardware. How do you see this point?
Yeah, so we try not to be too much dependent on hardware. So we try to de-risk by doing strategic partnerships with hardware provider. So we focus mainly on the software, optimize it for any kind of hardware that we can deploy anywhere. So that's the way we do it. Otherwise, of course, investors, they don't like it. If you're dependent on one single piece of hardware that can stop at any time, especially AI accelerators, as we know, that's a big topic now. So we have to de-risk. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got any money to date.
Thank you. I think we are running almost at the end of the things. It's the time to get a few questions from the audience. Yeah.
From the audience.
Any questions? Yes, there are.
Oh, nice.
My bad.
It was behind.
Great.
Very good. Yeah, I have a question to the group. When talking to investors, they tell me if you give money to a Swiss startup or to a European startup for that matter, they will try to stretch the money for 10 years. Whilst the investor wants you to go fast, to go big, and then cash out. What is your perspective on that? Is that a danger in Europe generally compared to US or?
That's a really good question, because this is exactly this is typically one of the things going to face. How do you spend the money? And it's really, I love that question, because it's really something that should I spend very quickly, burn it, and then, oh shit, we didn't spend it on the right thing, or we didn't hire the right people, and so on. Or you try to last because you need time, because adoption takes time, like market is not fully ready, timing it might be a bit late, and so on, right? So be early and so on. So yeah, it's a conundrum. Yeah. There's no answer, but this is one of the key questions that you have to ask yourself.
So thank you for the talk. I have actually one comment and one question. The first comment is that I really like that you mention how you're convincing the customer that, okay, your product works, but there's also another aspect to trust, which is kind of legitimacy and credibility. So finding sponsors, finding partnerships, doing POCs for free is a good way to build that credibility. I like that you mentioned that. So if you have any other things to share regarding that, I'll take it. And my question is, so I see in Switzerland, my clients or my partners and their clients, they really care about, data sovereignty, actually. And, I think it's really important now because of the political landscape is changing, and it has consequences on the technological landscape. And I want to know if those questions are raised on your side, and how do you handle that question of sovereignty today? Because Europe has a role to play, and Europe companies have a role to play, I believe.
I will take the first part of the question about ecosystem, and we will be very happy to welcome you in the Trust Valley ecosystem. The 3 entrepreneurs here are from the Trust Valley. We are working together. Laurent, for your second company, Diffispy in the incubator, and with Hugo, we created the several things. So you were in the incubator, also in the accelerator, and C4DT is the founder of the Trust Valley. So it's really that what we create in the Trust Valley, to have a place with ecosystem, with all the partners, public, private, academia, and so on. And I let you the second part of the question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So data sovereignty is one of the big topics at the moment. Everybody wants to be sovereign. So data sovereignty is one thing, but you have to see the big picture also, because you're dependent on many things when you run on servers or whatever. Who's handling the electricity of your server, for instance, right? But data sovereignty is a big topic. There are many tools that allow to keep your data private and secure nowadays. We have a different approach. We give the property on the data to our clients, meaning that we don't see it, we don't host it, we don't keep it at all. So we use edge device for this. So there are new technologies that allows you to have full control on your data. But the thing is that there is a dilemma at the moment. If you don't share your data, you will not have access to the latest technology, right? And everybody wants to have the latest LLM to get the best answer to whatever summary you want to do. So we have to accept that it doesn't work together. Of course, proprietary models will be in the cloud most of the time. So, yeah, people have to decide, basically. Performance versus privacy. So we're trying to find the sweet spot at Cisco. It's not easy. Yeah.
Another question?
Just on credibility, yeah. I think that was a good question, because I faced that also. One of the things that, I think it was really a really good weapon if you really want to, in short, be known for what you do, is that just write articles and publish them on your website. Create this compound of like material on your website that first you will work for the SEO, you will be referred, and guess what? All the good thing that happened to me, I'm not exaggerating this by any means, happened to me because somebody read an article that I wrote about something, say, hey, we want to talk to you, so do this. This is the thing. I will start my next venture. I would do this. Start writing on the topic, being like, because if you're not perceived as an expert, if you don't disseminate the information, obviously your competitor is going to read this as well, but who cares, right? Don't write too many, things that you think are the next idea, but write. I think this is one of the good way to establish credibility. To me, it helps a lot. It's easier to write now with AI, but still the ideas are yours. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
My question is about staffing, and I'm curious about if you had a magic wand for building your initial team, what kind of profiles would you choose? Some of you mentioned that you had an interview and it was lucky that it became your CTO. But beside that, if you had to choose, I know that the staffing is an issue.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in my case, I would look for somebody that has experience in building startups, for sure, because we had none in the team. We started all from scratch. So we had to learn the hard way. But that would be my choice, finding a CTO that has startup experience.
Yeah, I would approve that. We are actually looking for people that have a good track record right now. We were all juniors when we started. So actually we hired one co-founder that was a senior of the domain, and that brought a lot of value, not only to us, the team, but also in terms of credibility. So if I had to start it again, we have people that have done it at least once, and then we'll improve on it.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. In addition, the only thing I would like to add is that work someone who's dedicated to this, not somebody who's working half this, half that, or worse, is a professor. I mean, that's the worst thing you can do. No, because, it's not going to work, right? Face it. When you struggle, you're going to be by yourself. So no, it's a partnership in all senses of the term. You have to be dedicated. When you work hard, this person needs to work hard with you. You need to support, like a marriage, right? You cannot be half married, can you? Right? It doesn't work, right? So no, it's the same thing. If you say, oh yeah, I'm going to work with you, but I have this thing on the side. Nah, forget about it. This is not going to work.
if I can add to that, there is also a huge learning curve when it comes to experienced people that I just discovered, which is we naive people have just a lot of optimism when it comes to designing the product. Their expertise is kind of a break to their creativity. So they're asking me, how can you make a satellite when you don't know how many customers on it? Well, yes, that's the concept. Guess what? So then with let's say the cycle of telling them, hey, keep your expertise on the side, only use it when you're implementing the product. The brainstorming has to be super creative when it comes to fragile ideas. And that, I think, is the trick when it comes to getting people that have done it in a corporate and now you want to do a startup with them.
I think that's a good point. When you get, the older you get, the more pessimistic you might become, right? So you foster that sense of pessimism, and I think that's not something that, but not everybody's like that.
Yeah. Any question? Yes, last one. Right side. Andre.
Yeah, I have a question to Hugo and Laurent about security. Security versus compliance. So, from what we see right now, right, we were also new to the market, startup. We see that there's a phenomenal difference in how you approach the cybersecurity question in the US and in Europe. And here is super compliance driven. We're also spoiled by very good insurances. So whenever you get an ISO certificate, you can basically de-risk a lot of stuff. Whereas if we spoke to a bunch of high-level CISOs in the US, and some of them are saying, GDPR fine, we'll just put it in the P&L. If something happens, we'll just consider it a loss. So because of that, security problems become compliance problems afterwards because the standards are developed. Do you believe that Europe has a future in breakthrough solutions in cybersecurity? Or do you think that we'll be, caring about paperwork more than the actual risk management?
The same issue with AI, right?
Yeah. We will make it, but we need to have drastic approach that are drastically different from what they do in the US. We're trying one. That's this guy. But yeah, I think this data sovereignty will block us in many innovative ways, but we might win on the long run by protecting our data and any kind of data. So let's see what's going to happen in the future. I mean, it's so uncertain at the moment, but there is still hope for Europe to win, because you see by not caring at all about regulation in the US that way, they might collapse at any point.
No, I agree. And what he says, in the long run, the American view or US view is there's no long run, right? There's actually first the short run, and then we'll see what happened, right? So that's kind of the idea. And, for me, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, because also, I'm also married to an American woman, half my family is American, and, I live in the US, for over 10 years. And I have this thing is that, well, sometimes it's not bad to go and break things along the way, but yeah, you have to see, to me, what do you break? What are the consequences why you break? So you should know also the Uber way and break everything. So I think that's that extreme, but especially there's some, and I push, like, for instance, I mentioned my co-founder is 20 years younger, but he didn't see that the reason why to be ISO 27001 certified. For him, it was we didn't need that. No, we need that. So I got more careful. It's like, but then guess what? When you negotiate contract with large companies, they want to see that type of things, right? So I think, it all depends on the case. There's something you can break and something you shouldn't break. So I think it's a case by case basis. But it's not like, in the US, it's not they break everything, right? They're not completely stupid either, right? It might seem like that, but.
Hugo, you want to add something?
Yeah. So the worst case scenario when you don't regulate anything, especially with AI, can be pretty bad, actually, if we think about it, right? If you don't regulate, there are like millions of people working on AI at the moment in many different applications. We have this agentic era now where agents can do anything, basically, including generating their own code, basically. So you see, if you don't regulate, there will be something that will break at some point, for sure. So, yeah, I think that's where we win again.
Yeah, thanks.
A last question? Okay, so I propose to you to make a round of conclusion. Can begin with you.
Good luck, guys, if you're creating a company.
But it's a good idea, no?
Good idea.
And you are here to back them, no?
Not sure.
You are not sure.
We'll see, based on the idea.
Yeah.
We were mentioning that with our team just in the last few days. We really look forward to the second company because we learned so much along the way. We will just do it completely differently. So yeah, I hope we benefit you also from our advice.
Yeah, same. So we didn't ask actually. So we asked how many people are on a journey to build a startup, but how many are considering to build a startup in the room?
It's more than at the beginning of the talk. It's good. It's a good metric for us.
Now, the good news is that it's way easier to start now anyway, to make a prototype and show something that works. So it's also fun. If you're a creative person, you can start, test it. And if it fails, of course, as we hear all the time, it has to fail early. So then you move on to the next thing. But it's always a good, it depends on your spirit, right? For me, I don't see myself anywhere else now. I will never work again for a large company, that's for sure. So good luck if you're considering.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.